JB here. JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Friday, September 26, 9/17. On this fine PCE morning. Talk quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at. Go from there. PCE data came in line as expected. Nothing crazy. Um, headlines, and it's always about the headlines, how it's spun. And if you're from the camp that says that tariffs are taking a hold of the economy and soaring inflation and things of that, they can write the headline saying, you know, PC rose, right? Because it does. That's what happens. If there's always, unless we're in a period of stagflation or whatever, prices go up. That's just how they go up over time. So you can make the headline saying the PC showed that prices increased, but they came in as expected. So mostly in line. So to me, it's not anything earth shattering on either side. Yesterday with that stronger than expected jobs report. Well, weekly jobless claims coming in less than expected, and the higher than estimates in regards to the GDP data. You have folks saying, "Oh, the odds of rate cuts have come down," right? And you take a look, it's like 85% now for the next Fed meeting. I don't think it changes anything. I still think there'll be two cuts into the end of the year. Now, to me, it's like, what is the next catalyst or the next headline or what have you that's going to move markets? We saw yesterday afternoon, you had Trump coming out with, or actually, I don't know if it was yesterday evening, with more tariffs, right? 100% on pharmaceuticals that are not made in the U.S. or if the company is not making a plant in the United States. So there'll be 100% tariffs. Those are on non-patented, those are on patented drugs, right? Generic drugs, which is like 19 of the 20 prescriptions that are given out in the country are typically generic drugs. So there's really not a huge impact. But then you see names like LLY, which is doing a plant here in the U.S., so their stock is up a little bit. So I think somewhat of a non-event. And then you had more tariffs in regards to the furniture, right? And I'm crazy. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm crazy, but to me, it's like Trump sat down with someone who bought furniture and knows someone in North Carolina and says, "Oh, China floods the U.S. market with cheap furniture, whatever." And boom, he comes out with a tweet Thursday evening after dinner. That's crazy how my head works, but I wouldn't be surprised at some of it. But again, similar thing. You take a look at RH and W. RH looks interesting here for possibly a bounce, all the way down to 194 this morning. But in a nutshell, the tariff headlines that used to swing the markets aren't moving it much anymore. It's almost like I wouldn't say they're immune to it, but somewhat non-events. So we'll see how that all plays out. Hopefully that tariff headline situation where we don't, the moving parts that we didn't know what was the next sector that was going to be a tariff slapped on at any given moment. Hopefully that we've got past that and now the market can move on to other things. All right. So that's quick on overall markets. Just I was talking about yesterday. I think the S&P, NASDAQ, and the Dow closed in the red for 3 consecutive sessions, something that hasn't happened since the spring. So is that just a pullback? Are we in the midst of the start of something bigger? Things I'm looking at, I talked about yesterday too, the moving averages, right? So 50% of the stocks on the S&P are under their 50-day moving average. I think it's what it closed at 50.2%, right? So we're right at that threshold. Look, fat candle there fat finger on GameStop. And then the amount of stock trading over there, 200-day moving average, still around 60. Do I have it 60%? 61%. So definitely watching that. The trend is your friend. So don't want to see that creep under the 50 threshold. And then it's funny because then you look at the S&P and the SPY is substantially over its 50-day moving average of 642. So just something to watch. And then yields again yesterday upticked a little bit. So just as we get into October, and then we'll finally start getting some more data that I think might be market moving, definitely watching the yields. So that's kind of the overall market. And today won't be another day of me talking about the great circle jerk. Still have to do, maybe over the weekend, I'll have some research just finding out the billions and I guess you say trillions of dollars in the CapEx and who's on the hook for what and how much. Because to me, that's the thing. I think it was back in April or March. My concern was MicroStrategy, right? I didn't know if that was me, the Black Swan event, but something that might move the markets, right? And we'll see what happens here with this AI CapEx event. All right, so now just quick on individual names. First, I'll just talk about Reddit. I all the way down to 223 yesterday. Just remarkable stuff. Thursday afternoon, the stock was 282 and looked like it was on its way to soaring past $300. And then fast forward 5 sessions later, and the stock all the way down to 223. No major catalyst, no downgrade, no news, just profit taking. And I don't know if that's opportunity or that means trying to catch a falling knife here. We dropped to 200, but to me, I like the risk reward. Went and got some spec lottos. This morning, RBC Capital raised their price target to 245 from 214, somewhere in there. They just have a neutral rating, or pretty much a market perform. But we've seen it before with Reddit. An analyst change sometimes just sparks the stock, and it was all the way up to 240 here in the pre-market, down here at 236. We'll find out at the open. Reddit has had some moves where it does monster swings right at the open. Hopefully it does it this morning. If it can get into the low 240s, my lottos might be able to lock some in to cover costs, and then I'll just ride the rest into the noon hour. If it does stay over 240, might look for some strikes into next week. So that's Reddit. Duolingo, relative strength yesterday. Market was selling off, and Duolingo was going the other direction. So I think that's a great sign. 313 was the big breakout spot, closed right near that yesterday, 313.49, and now the 50-day moving average is at 323. So it gets over that. I think it's off to the races. 345 plus. Was saying it yesterday. I'll get some strikes into next week again, depending. I still have some 325s. We'll see how it plays out here in the morning. I might look to just close those out right away, depending on the premiums. And then on the flip side here, Broadcom played those puts yesterday morning, closed them out for 100%. Once it got back up to 330, I closed the last out. Didn't want to lose the profits. And then in the afternoon, I was looking for a hedge trade into the PC data this morning. Not only that, it almost felt like the market, especially with the 3-day sell-off, like we could have continuation and have one of those patented sell-off at the open, hit lows at like 10 o'clock and then reverse and bounce and rally into the green. So didn't want to be chasing today, so I got those Broadcom puts yesterday afternoon. They'll be solidly in the red. Going to need some crazy reversal here, but wouldn't rule out some profit taking today. I put it in the watch list this morning too. I think today's like a key day because everybody's talking about the PCE data, talking about all these different things, and to me, it's like we're almost sitting in this. I keep saying the news vacuum, but if the market reverses today, maybe it's just a sign that we're in the midst of some profit taking. I'm not saying huge sell-off, or at least can't rule anything out, but I would say maybe there's an opportunity for some pulls. So today I'll be watching for more opportunities, especially if the SPY reverses green to red here at the open. And then 654, that's the big spot yesterday, seemed to hold. If we break under that, I'll look for some put hedges into next week. But that was Broadcom. And then I was talking about Oracle yesterday afternoon, and I was looking at those 270s. I think they were 50 cents. I'll have to pull those up, but I almost pulled the trigger on those just because another one of those names that I think come back down to earth. And it's already down to its gap. It hasn't filled the gap, but then you start looking, I'm like, wow, this can go 270 and below if the market finds some weakness. So similar to Broadcom, if the market reverses today into the red and these names show some weakness, might look for some strikes here. Oracle also was running up yesterday afternoon on that TikTok news, which all that to me that's been out there. It's not like it wasn't. It was a surprise out of left field. So that's Oracle. Just other names here. Cardlytics down 10%, but if you look at the chart, it actually another inside session. So could be setting up here today. We'll see. A good sign yesterday, not giving back more of those gains. SERV Robotics down 15% this week. Still here at the 12 handle. 12 seems like it's a magnet. So not sure if I'll add anything here today, but still have the Octobers and the Januaries. Edit pulled back yesterday, still holding the threes. I'll just continue to hold my January strikes. Trying to think of some of the other names here. I think that's it, folks. RH. So some bounce plays there. I might be a little more aggressive on lottos. If RH shows some signs at the open, I think it's been like 2 of the last 3 Fridays that the stock's been up like 6-7% on not much in the way of news or catalysts. And some of it was the prospects of lower rates, right? So could be an opportunity here to play it back from, I don't know if it's, it looks like it's going to go red to green here at the open. If it does, maybe 220s. That's it, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back. Rock and roll.